Well, go on and praise him in here. Go on and praise him. When you look back over your life and think about everything you've experienced, it was nothing but the favor of the Lord. I said it was nothing but the favor of the Lord. If you know that it was the favor of the Lord, go on and praise him in here.
Hey, blessings, y'all. Welcome to the Solutions Radio Show. I'm your host, Pastor Corey Wright. As always, we know what the problems are. We know we need to solve them. What I offer on this platform is solutions, dedicated acts of action that bring about true change. And I just talked about change, and no excuses for excuses are man's tools of incompetence that build bridges to nowhere and monuments of nothing. Broadcasting live from the WVTC Radio Network here in Chicago, and also our sister station in Detroit, Michigan. It is an honor to be here live on a Saturday to talk about what I have learned from 2025. Let me first say thank God for this opportunity. I want to thank my co-host in her absence. We kind of switched shifts, so she couldn't be here today, but it is, I'm glad that she is there. And I thank God for this opportunity. Today is really a blessed day for me because I am going into 2026 full of commitment. And I'm going to talk about all the things in 2025, and a lot of things that happened in 2025 has been life-changing, and it has been truly life-changing in a manner that I thank God. So I hope everyone tunes in, like, love, and share, because this is one of these shows that you definitely want to have somebody watch this show, because you are going to love it. The first thing that I want to talk about in the radio show is the fact that I made it. So many people didn't make it this year. We have lost a lot of people this year, and a lot of people didn't make it. But God saw fit for you to make it. And that's such a blessing that you did make it. And I want to let everyone know who lost someone this year. I know some people that I care about that's attending a funeral today. And there are many people, great people, that have been in the news that have passed this year. And we want you to know that we are with you. The Solutions Radio Show sends our prayers to you, especially Dr. Conway, who is a friend of mine. I'm sorry about the loss of your family. This time is, really kind of tough for me because one of my best friends, Miss Felicia Ransom, she passed. Well, her birthday was recently. I think yesterday, the day before yesterday. And it's tough because we grew up together, and her being one of my best friends. And then like 24 days later, her sister passed, and they were so close. So this time of the year is kind of tough. And then also it's the holidays where so many people are not here. So many of your family members and friends may not be here. So it is a blessing for God to have us here. And, I don't take any of that for granted. I want to talk about some various things today that 2025 taught me about myself, about my ministry commitment, about my love commitment, about church commitment. this year I went back to therapy. It was one of the best moves I've ever made because, I was in a situation that was not a good situation for me. I had people around me that manipulated emotions. And I was in a bad place because sometimes strong people really don't know what limit we are when it comes to strength because we're used to being so strong. And sometimes we look at our lives and we say to ourselves, I can do this, or I don't need anybody. I can do this. But we all need somebody. And in my therapy session, my therapist asked me one of the greatest questions that you should ask yourself in 2026. Many of us are going to start this year off with resolutions, expectations, and things that we're going to say we're going to do. But he asked me a question because one of the greatest truths I found out in therapy, and one of the greatest truths I found out in my life in 52 years, I have never made a mistake that I did on my own to make this mistake. I have always made mistakes following somebody, trying to please somebody, or do something for somebody, or in a relationship way. I've always made mistakes. So he asked me one of the greatest questions. He said, because many people are going to put all these resolutions. They're going to say, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of that. I am going to change what I do, how I do. And New Year's is always a great stepping stone to greatness. I don't belittle that. New Year's is always a place where we can do something different. But New Year's is a time that gives us a resolve. But the question I want you to ask yourself is the question that changed my life in 2025 that my therapist asked me. He said, who are you uninterrupted? I want you to really think about that, because the devil cannot stop what God has for you, nor can he stop you from being what God called you to be. But he sends things to take away your godly self, to take away who God created you to be, to hinder you from growing into this great person and doing amazing things. There is a version of you that is spectacular beyond all means when you find an uninterrupted person in yourself. Many of us have grew up in bad situations. Many of us had to face poverty. Many of us had to face situations that is hard to recover from because trauma and tragedy has a lasting effect. But who are you uninterrupted? Who are you when you're not sick? Who are you when you are blessed? Who are you when you are in tune with who God created you? Who are you when you're not worrying about monetary situations? Who are you when you're not in relationship foolishness? And who are you when you're not in ministries that want to bury you? Who are you? When he said that, he gave me the analogy of the fact that the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And he cannot curse what God has blessed, nor can he stop what God has sent. So he showed all these interruptions. He said, people in your life, have you ever been in a place whereas, hey, good afternoon, we got Franklin, we got the owner watching. God bless you, man. Have you ever been in a place where you're by yourself doing good? You're growing. You're being blessed. You're saving money. You're doing great. And as soon as you get it in a situation, get around certain people, You get in certain situations, certain ministries, certain relationships. You fall in love with somebody. Everything goes down. A distraction to interrupt what God wants to do in your life. Why do you think the devil used the tactic of worrying so much? Because he wants you in a double-mindedness where you hold up your blessings because you're trying to help God be God. You know, I get up early in the morning, maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock every morning before I go to work. I am studying. And God brought me to Sarah. He brought me to Sarah. And there are so many aspects of Sarah that reflects my life. When you think about, like, all the things that I had to go through in life was to get me ready for the miracle God has for me. And many of us, just like Sarah, we have been waiting on God for a long time for something. And a lot of us feel like we are past our prime, that it won't happen. Just like Sarah thought when she overheard God telling Abraham that she's going to have a baby. She like, I'm way past menopause. I'm way past that. And there is somebody right now feel that way because in their life, they've been so interrupted. Who are you uninterrupted? Then Sarah said, okay, I'm going to try to help God. I'm going to help God or try to expedite what God said and make what God said on my time. I am going to put him in there with my handmaid. But what happened? Sarah became pregnant. And God gave her the miracle. And one of the points I want to really deal with before that, you are not too old to do what God said you're going to do. If God said it, if you're 9 or 99, it's going to come to fruition. You are not past your prime, and you are not past the point where God can't use you the way he wants to use you. Who are you uninterrupted? One of the things that my therapist wanted me to see was every time I have been at a place of greatness, I have always been interrupted. Every time that I have been in a place, it could have been a ministry, it could have been some where God is using me in a major way, I have been interrupted. Who are we uninterrupted? Who are we when we're not worrying about how we're gonna make it? Who are we when we're not worrying about who's trying to stab us in the back? Who are we when we don't have everybody else's burden on us? Who are we uninterrupted? When my therapist said that to me, it touched my life in a way because I never seen that. I never seen that. You know, because he says to me that how can you be what God wants you to be when you don't find peace in being who you want to be? I have been asked many times, you know, what will make you happy? And my therapist always tell me that you already have to be happy, just add on. Because it doesn't make a difference when you think about Paul and Silas, the jail cell didn't stop them from praising God. And you got to be able to find God even when you on a cross. Like the thief on the cross. In all his suffering and everything he was going through, he understood he belonged there. But Jesus didn't. He understood he was next to God. And he understood that I got to find God no matter how bad my situation is. I have learned to be content, but not comfortable. I'm thankful, grateful, and content, but not comfortable. Because I understand there are greater things to do. But who are you uninterrupted? Many of you all are going to start this new year off with resolutions, with pledges, with everything. But who are you uninterrupted? Is it that you are not that person, or is it that you're that person or greater, but you don't see it because you are so interrupted by so many things? Sometimes our situations don't allow us to see the movement of God and what God is doing. So we're so committed to the interruptions that we forget who we are uninterrupted. See, right now in my life, I am uninterrupted and committed to what God said. In 2026, I don't want anything that God doesn't want me to have. That is my whole motto. Because if God gave me vision, he gives me provision. But if I am uninterrupted because I am thankful, grateful, I may not have a big house today, but I got somewhere to live. I'm thankful for that. I may not have a brand new car, but I have a car that's getting me where I am. I'm thankful for that. I may not be married, but I have someone special in my life. I'm thankful for that. I'm grateful. One of the ways that you eliminate fighting in life or comparison is to be grateful. I'm happy somebody got a Mercedes or got a fancy car. I'm happy. But I'm also happy I got mine. It may not be a fancy car, but there is nowhere you can drive in your fancy car that I can't drive to in my regular car. Gratitude. Who are you uninterrupted? My therapist this time around was so much harder on me because he had to get me to understand the why. To understand that there is a survivor me, and there is a person that's living me. There is a person that is interrupted, and there is a person that's uninterrupted. And once we get into a place in peace in God, then we become uninterrupted. David never, ever feared Goliath. David was not worried about Goliath because David had already found peace in God and what God has already done for David. Goliath's strength made no difference to him. Goliath was a champion. He had an armor bearer go before him. David wasn't worried, but he never addressed the armor bearer. He never had a stone for the armor bearer. He addressed Goliath to his face. I'm going to chop your head off. He was uninterrupted. And when we become uninterrupted in God, we ain't fearing what we don't have. We ain't trying to figure it out like Sarah did. Many of us do what God never told us to do because we are impatient and we're trying to work it out ourselves. We're trying to help God be God. Most people look at the Bible and say, in the beginning, God created the heaven and earth. In the beginning. And that's where that started. But there was a beginning before in the beginning. God has always been there. He's always been there. He's eternal. Before anything was created, even before the devil was created, God was already there. When we look at he already knew what was going to happen. Who was that? Was it John or who then seeing that that the lamb was already slain, that he knew already before he came what had to be done. Jesus was there always in the beginning before anything was created. And that's why when we look at our 2026, you have to ask yourself, who are you uninterrupted? Who are you outside of those negative people? Who are you outside of that negative job? Who are you outside of those negative family members? Who are you outside of your financial situation? Who are you outside of that? I want to give somebody some great advice for 2026. I want you to stop judging people according to their situation. Some people are worth saving. Some people have been fighting their entire lives. Some people have been in bad situations for years. God showed me that if you want to see the best out of somebody, put them in a place where they can be safe. Put them in a place where they don't have to worry about how they're going to fix something or something going to happen for them, or worrying about bills. And it's a lot of our men, we got to understand this. If we want to, especially if you have a woman that's a great entrepreneur, that's strong, that's gifted, you have somebody like that, put her in a position whereas this person can be safe and don't have to worry about nothing. Take care of her until she get on her feet where she can be who she needs to be without the rat race, without the pressure, without any of that. And many of us miss that. There was an analogy that I put on my page where you had a man on top of the cliff with a boulder on his back. No, I didn't put it on there, but I watched this analogy. He was hanging over the cliff, holding on to his wife, but there was a boulder on his back. Now, him holding on to his wife holding on to him, there's a snake right under where he was. And the snake looked like he's trying to bite the woman. But the man can't see the snake because he has his arm over it, but the snake is inside the cliff of the mountain, so he can't see him. So he's like holding her up, like, why don't she pull herself up and help me pull her up? But she's in another situation looking like, why don't he pull me up? Because the snake look like he's about to bite me. And neither one of people see each other problem because neither person is safe. And this is what's killing a lot of our relationships, our growth, and our progress, is because we don't see somebody else's problem because we're trying to get out of ours. Instead of saying, let me help you. Let me bless you. I'm already ready to take care of the wife that God gives me. And it's not that I won't ever need her help or not bless me, but I understand I have to make sure she's safe in order to produce what she needs to produce. Because how can somebody produce something that every time they turn around, something being taken away from them? We have to be able to put ourselves in other people's shoes. Another thing is, people can be more appreciative uninterrupted. A lot of times we may think people don't care, that they just may be money hungry or they just want to get something. That's not true. It's just that people are in a survival mode because they are interrupted. If you put a person in a place of being uninterrupted and being safe, it changes. You have to ask yourself this major question before you make them resolutions, before you make all these decrees, before you write all these visions down. You have to ask yourself, who are you uninterrupted? Who are you before the things that happen to you? Who is God commanding you to be? My whole life, this whole year has humbled me. It has opened my eyes because I am not going to fit in every place. But this is the first year in 52 years that I go committed. I go committed. And the first thing that I am committed to is my godly assignment. One of the things that I had to understand about what God has called me to be, He's called me to be a pastor. I am committed to the ministry that I am at now and that I go into the new year with. And that is until God moves me into my own ministry. One of the truths that I had to understand in 2025, and this is a lesson that I've been learning most of my life, but I understand it, I've learned it greatly in 2025, is that when you live in somebody else's house, no matter if you right or wrong, you're wrong because it's their house. When we look at churches today, it is so cliquish and so performish. Everybody is putting on a great performance, but God is not bearing witness that He sent them. There has not been a ministry or place that I have not gone to that has not changed or been blessed because God is using, not me. Let me just real quick, but God is using me because the Bible says He'll bear witness. But every place that I've gone to, many places I've gone to, I'm going to be a threat. Not because I want to take over anything, because for a while I had no desire to go back to the pastorship. But because God uses me and He bears witness. So I understand that I can't fit. And it's not that I'm, I understand that it's no bad feelings. You're right. If I'm in your house, it's by your rules. And one of the things that my therapist said that made a lot of sense is that we have to still set the personality with the leader. Because a lot of times you have a lot of leaders that's empty, still trying to pour. And so they're empty. So all they doing is looking like they have a lot inside them, putting on a great show, but broken. And you're not going to come into somebody else's house and even if God using you, you're going to still be subject to their thoughts, their personalities, and their viewpoint. And you're going to be wrong. And I understand that because there is a level of character that comes with each leader. Because right now you have all these church associations that you have all these gifted, well-dressed preachers who only that put on great performances while our community is still dying and while people are not being healed and not being delivered. You see that. And I understand that. And that's why I'm committed to this. I'm committed to who God called me to be in the ministry. But outside of the place I'm at now, I will not join another church. I will stay here, be faithful to the shepherd of that house's vision and what that shepherd of the house wants me to do. And he understands, just like I understand, that God is to send me out. A prophet of God came to the leader and told him about. He reached back. And what he said to me is, how many leaders will come back and get you? Because God told me to come back and get you. God told me to train you in a manner not for you to stay, but to send you back out. Because there are great things that God has for you. And I'm faithful to that. I'm committed to that. I'm committed to that. Because I understand that I have to be in a place where God can use me. And anything that, being that I'm in a place where God can use me, I don't need to be subject to somebody else's thought of me. Because you see so many ministries that's loaded up with people trying to get to the leader, loaded up with things. One of my biggest pet peeves that I don't like, and I've never liked, is to have visitors and people that need God sitting in overflows in the back, where the first 4 or 5 rows is full of ministers, full of leaders, or you got a pulpit full of ministers, full of leaders, when the man that don't know Jesus, or that person that need healing or need God bad, need to be up front. Not all these ministers, but they're loaded up. And everybody has their way of leading. I have nothing against anybody leading any kind of way. You have a right, because you are who God put there, and I respect that. But I understand that. I'm always trying to fit into, I can't. And I'm not going to try any. 2020, I'm not. Because it doesn't make a difference what you or any other ministry think about somebody that God using. Radical, being a radical. The woman of God, Greta Preston, I was trying to be, there was a pastorship that I really wanted. And I remember her reaching out to me and said, Pastor Corey, you're not going to get it, and God is not going to give it to you. Blessings, Gerald. God is not going to give it to you because he wants you to be radical. He wants you to reach people. And one of the greatest parts about our Christian life that hurt us is the judgmental Christians. Like, you forget when God saved you. And you run into these judgmental Christians and they wonder why their life is the way it is because the same way you judge people, God is going to judge you. You judge people by the fruit they bear and by the Spirit. But if you're judging them by a standard of way you see something and not the way it is, then guess what? That's what's on your life. Because now God judges you. You have a lot of judgmental ladies don't understand why you're single. Because you're judging men or judging people in a manner that you don't judge yourself. And that means God has to judge you that way. I'm committed to that. I'm never going to ask anybody to let me speak anywhere. I understand that God is moving me there to create a place that's all about him. That's not cliquish. That's not going to make people sit in overflows way in the back. That's going to really show care. The one thing I love about the ministry I'm under now, they give back to the community. They're out there. That man cared about me and went searched for me, went out and talked to me. He had me in tears because I've never seen a leader do that. I've never been under a leader who gonna reach out and make sure I'm okay. I met there are many leaders that shake your hand. Hey, brother, you're good in church. You'll never hear from them. Never. And then you have, people like, wow. People even, let me look you up. Let me find out about, let me look you. Why? But then just like my therapist said, it's about when God is using somebody, he bears witness, it makes people uncomfortable. He said, no matter where you go, because the light on your life makes people uncomfortable. You're gonna face it. because you're not meant to go back to digress to somebody else's thought. You're meant to go forward in God. So what happens is you small yourself for somebody to feel secure. Because one of the things that I've never been removed for or never been in odds with any leader or anybody is my service to God. It's always been my opinion, what I agree and don't agree. Never been that. But it was a lesson in 2025 that was part of one of the greatest lessons, because you really see who people are when you're down and you're going through something. And that's just not in the churches. And you have people that only care about you to the scope of what they feel you do for them or what matters to them. That's it. When I went back to therapy, it was one of the best things I've ever done this far, because now I understand me in a manner that I didn't. Because I had gotten disciplined, I have gotten better, but I forgot to live. And the reason why I wasn't living, because one of the things that I found out in therapy was God always wanted to give me the victory, but I always left before I seen it. So it wasn't that that you didn't see the moment things happening. I never stayed long enough to see it. And the reason why I didn't see it, because I was doing it, but I wasn't committed. And God changed that. That's the one thing. Because triggers don't matter if there is nothing behind them. Triggers are only powerful if there is something behind it. So we had to get behind those triggers, because some of the things that rub shouldn't have. But you don't know how burned out you are, because people play on your emotions. I had a few people in my life that played in my emotions that won't carry not one brick, will never do anything that will benefit you, and they will only help you and benefit you when it benefits them. You know, I'm only going to love you to a point, whereas it is. And if you don't give me what I need, I am going to blame you. And what separated me from that? I told, when I was in one of my sessions about 3 weeks ago, I said to my therapist, what separates me from those emotional vampires? How do I beat that? And you know what he said? What separates you from emotional vampires, from phony people, from opinions, and everybody that means you no good? Hard work. Because if you work hard enough, you become unreachable. If I am on the ground building a floor, and somebody starts to build a floor next to me, but feels that building that floor is too hard and stop, but I never stop, even though they see me build the floor, and I'm on top of that floor, they still see me good. Now I started to build that second floor, and they look up, they see me still. But by the time I get to that third floor, they can't see me good. And then when I get to the 6th or the 7th floor, I am out of reach. And I get that. And he said, what you do is don't go back, because those people will come back and still be in the same place you left them. But if you're not in the same place that you left them in, now they have to deal with your hard work. And many people right now, they gonna fight for you in their life, or they want you like, because they see the hard work and they know the hard work separates you from them. And many people don't want to lose that. They're not gonna make a move that benefits you, only them. And that separates them. So when somebody say, well, why won't you let me on your boat? Because you didn't carry not one brick or a log for the boat. And when people don't do that, they blame, he said. They blame and they play that emotional game. Because you know why? Anything but seeing what they have brought to the table, what they bring to you, they don't want to see that. Because some people just bring fights. Some people just bring emotional problems. So many people just bring, they don't care about what you're going through. So I'm committed to God's church assignment for my life. I'm a pastor. I'm a leader. I'm never going to do good in somebody else's ministry. This is what God called me to be. This is what I am. I'm not going to put on a show. I'm not going to wait till somebody tell me that I'm doing what they want to do. Many people nowadays don't want to use people for who God created them to be. They want to make them into replicas or mirror images of them. They want the ministry to reflect them and what they do, opposed to what God brought you to or what God called you to do. I had pastors criticize me for not having suits and not wearing suits. Like me having a suit on gonna make me less anointed. Like me dressing a certain way, appearing a certain way to aggrandizement is gonna make me look better. Where is the deliverance? Where is the change? Our Lord and Savior, God himself, was born in an animal house. He didn't come living in a mansion. But we've got to this point where we look holy. We look anointed. We look like the man of God. But what he said, like dead bones in a sepulcher, you know, nothing inside, falling all out, doing all that mess. Come on. God bears witness. So I'm committed to that. So far as 2015 taught me that I am called to be a pastor. I've been a pastor, called to be a leader. I am going to always have problems in somebody else's ministry, you know, because of not because of my service, because of their personality. You have a lot of people are made by their titles and not their service. They're very insecure in who they are. And the only thing that gives them security in life is their title. A lot of people won't sit down man to man with you. Or woman to woman with you, they got a problem with you. They won't do that. Because you know why? They don't never want to admit they're wrong. You have some leaders that won't even apologize. They can't. Because it's their position that makes them, not the God in them that makes them. Not what God says do. You know, everybody wants to be a certain way. I don't want to be what God didn't call me to be. I'm happy mopping the floor. I'm happy teaching Sunday school. I'm happy praying. I don't need to be in a pulpit. You know, one of the things that always been in my life, I've always had radio. And I used to make a lot of leaders I've been under mad. I ain't gotta wait and beg you for preaching time. I ain't gotta work around your insecurities. I can go preach all day on radio. I can go ahead and speak all day. I don't have to do that. That's not, it's not a competition. We're trying to win souls, not being seen. So I'm committed to that. And I believe God is bringing me into the ministry he has for me and the ministry he wants me to do soon. But until then, the church I'm at now, and that pastor be here in January, I'll be interviewing him. I'm going to remain there and faithful to that until God moves me. Until God moves me. You know, I'm good. I'm not going anywhere else. And the next time I move into my own ministry. So I don't deal with all that. I don't have to be in those bishops and cliques and all them Baptist associations and all that other stuff. No, I'm not. I'm not being a part of that. Because if God can accept me for who I am, why can't man? So I'm committed to that. So in 2005, I'm committed. 2026, I'm committed to that. I'm also committed to my love assignment. It was prophesied to me who my wife is. And what was prophesied to me was only revealed to these people by God. There was a specific person that one of the prophets said that only God could have shown her who she was. And when I tell you who this woman of God is, if I tell you, but I'm not, because that won't be on here. But when I tell you she's a powerful, powerful woman of God, I prayed for her. I asked God for somebody like her or her when she was unavailable. And I knew that I got this person that I'm good, anointed, amazing, and neither one of us been through the greatest of greatest, but somebody who strong, that can pour back into me, that can pray for me. Specifically said her. No matter what people feel, no matter if somebody say, well, you're supposed to be over here, or I feel, don't matter. That's not what God said. Many people hear from, well, God told me this. Well, if God told you that, he'll tell me that. And God ain't going to bring mess together. He ain't going to bring people to come and fight. He ain't going to do that. And I'm committed to that love assignment going into 2026. I'm committed to my ministry assignment, and I'm committed to my love assignment. I'm committed to that. I'm satisfied and I'm good with her. I'm not going to find nobody better ministry-wise, woman of God, nobody beautiful, nobody intelligent, go-getter, entrepreneurship. I'm not. And I'm not going to waste my time on anybody else. 2025, December 31st will end certain relationships, certain connections, certain friendships, certain everything. Not saying I'm in a relationship, but it will end it. I will have no response. I would not go back and forth with anybody. I am not going to do it. Because it's about building. I don't care how much I love somebody. I don't care how beautiful somebody is. If we build nothing and only have confusion and frustration, I don't want it. And you know what? God never let anything outside of her work. Every relationship I had outside of her didn't work. And the woman of God, the prophet of God said, you know what? Every single relationship did not work out for you because you prayed for her and God gave you her, and he never changed his mind. Even when you did, he never changed his mind, and you were not committed to her. That's your wife. And you're going to see her greatness when you put her in a place where she's safe. She's been fighting so much in her life. And she's been fighting for her life. And when she's in a place where she's safe, loved, and taken care of, you're going to reap the benefits of an extraordinary woman to the likelihood she don't even know how bad she is, how amazing she is, and what she going to do. She have no clue. So I'm committed to my church assignment. Because, see, I don't have any resolutions for 2026. I have commitments. I'm not going into 2026 saying I'm looking for God to do amazing things. God has already done amazing things. I have become uninterrupted. So I don't need new stuff. I need to be loyal to what he's given me and committed. So I'm committed to the ministry and the leader that I'm under now until God puts me back in place of leadership, which will be soon. I'm committed to the person he said. So I don't want nobody else. 2000 and you won't see me. Hey, you can have it. I'm good. I'm committed to the love assignment. Now I'm committed to my family assignment. My mom is the greatest mom in the world. My mom is old. One of the hardest things I've ever watched is my mom get old. My mom hitting 80. I don't know how long we're going to have with my mom, but I'm thankful to God for my mom. I have said so many times, sometimes I get, frustrated. My mom has a building, take care of my mom. And, but, one of the things that it is when you don't have your mom, you don't have that person that's going to love you through and through. You don't have that. It's one of the hardest things in the world. And I thank God for my mom. I thank God for who she is. And, my mom helps me and I make sure she's great. And my mom said, you do so much for me. You show so much love. It's that when that day comes, my day come, your day come, you're gonna know if I would go before you, you will know I gave you my all. And when God calls you, I gave you, I gave you my all. I've seen many funerals and officiated many funerals where the people at the funeral acting a fool because you didn't do that person right when they was there. I'll never worry about that because I know I've given my mom all I had while she's on this earth. I'll be sad, she wasn't here and I'll be, hurt, but I won't feel guilty. I told somebody the other day, I sleep well at night because there is no softer pillow in the world than a clear conscience. Ooh. So, my family, my kids, my kids are grown. Well, my baby boy, he is a junior. He's 17. He will be a senior next year, going off to college. My middle son be graduating from college soon next year. And my oldest son, he's studying to be a chef. And I'm committed to seeing them grow into productive men, doing great things. I pray God blesses me with abundance to share with them, to give them a break on life I didn't have. So I'm committed to the wife that God has given me. Well, she comes first. God did her before anybody. And I'm committed to seeing her grow into who God called her to be. I'm committed to protecting her for like you come to for her, you coming through a battle. But I want God to put us in a position where you can't get near us, where we're untouchable. Especially the naysayers, especially the bad people. I'm committed to that. And if I have to, whatever I have to do, I'm committed, to giving her a freedom to do what she needs to do for herself. You ever heard the story of Vera Wayne, where her husband was a successful businessman and he gave her the money she needed to start her business because she wanted to do. Now she worth billions and he worked for her. I believe that with the one God said for me, that soon as she jump off everything, I'm going to end up, tell the city goodbye, and I am committed to my assignment at work. I have just been promoted. I'm in a place where many people may be struggling. God has blessed me to be promoted and a chance where there's all year round overtime, where I know that I can't go nowhere else and make what I make to do what I do. So I know when it comes to job, I'm committed. And the only reason why I'm not committed to this job is because God gives me my own business or my own radio show every day. That's the only reason why I am committed to this job, because I understand that there is no other job I can go to make what I make, to do what I do. So I'm cool with that. I'm committed. That's the reason why this year, the woman of God, Prophet Jewel Hollingsworth said, she said, God is a rewarder. She gave me Hebrews 6:10 for always helping people getting the word out there doing. She said, he's a rewarder of those that labored in love. He's a rewarder. And she said, my 2026 is going to be one of the greatest testimonies ever. And the testimony going to carry me all the way. And it's already, because I'm already committed to my God assignment, committed to the love that God said to have towards my wife. I'm committed, not just a love, committed. I'm committed to my family assignment. I'm committed to my work assignment, because I understand that I'm at a place where I can only go outside of a job to have more. Because anything that I do to make what I'm making now, to do what I do now, is going to cost me years of school. God bless me. I'm committed going into 2026 to my therapy assignment. Therapy blessed me. It saved my life years ago, but right now it's shaping my life, because I'm understanding about reaction. I'm understanding why people come at me. For many times in my life, I never understood the attack. Every time Jesus approached a demon-possessed man, those demons acknowledged him. They acknowledged him. And one of the things that you look at when it comes to therapy is you understand who you are. Because if you understand who you are, you understand the attack. Because people are not attacking people necessarily for what they have done. They're attacking them because of what they have the ability to do, what they're doing, or what God is using them for. They're mad. Because many people, even though they are in prestigious positions, have more money, have more clout, have more everything, they despise you, because when they see you or you operate, God moves. And I'm committed to that. That saved my life, because when I was first for this promotion, they didn't want to give it to me. And I felt, slighted. I felt that it was basically, it was wasn't fair. So I filed a grievance. Even though this is a promotion, I filed a grievance. And because you have to take a 2-month class, you have to learn everything, every aspect of the job, because you got people lives in hands. You got to be able to command people, tell people what to do, manage people. And I didn't understand their position for a minute, even though I thought it could have been done better. So when I filed a grievance, the union rep said, well, they're going to put you in the very next class. This was like 2 months later. So when I went back to therapy, because the places I was at was basically attacking me, and people around me were attacking me to a point whereas I couldn't catch my breath, which is the reason why I went back to therapy. And when I went back to therapy, the concern was you didn't realize how depleted you were because you became disciplined and not living. And many of you all are disciplined where y'all don't do what everybody else do, but you still ain't living. You may not go out and drinking, but you always in the house. You may not go and do nothing great, but you're still doing nothing. So here I am disciplined, but basically my couch, my TV, and my bed became my best friend. I go work, put in work, nothing else. So when we think about living, so when we look at, so what my therapist said do, he said, energy is not destroyed or lost. It's merely transferred from one place to another. And that even though that was Sir Isaac Newton's theory, we have to understand that our reaction will always create a mood in someone else. A lot of times we don't mean harm because we might be in a bad place, but it comes off harmful because we're in that place and somebody take it offensive. So what he said he said, I want you to take all that pain, all that frustration, all that anger, take all that they did, that you felt they did to you, wash it. Meaning that, I'm not going to let it affect me negatively. Wash it and use it as fuel. So when you do that information, instead of doing it once a day, do it 10 times a day. Find the energy from your problems. Find the energy from what you went through. And then when you read the material, read it twice a day. How do you do that? You find the energy from your pain. And that's just not with that in the Bible, in the word. When you look at the things you go, let that fuel you to read God's word inside and out. Let that fuel you to pray like you never prayed before. Let that fuel you to preach like you never preached before. And I did that. I did that for months. When learning the F field, I was doing, somebody said do 5 miles a day. I was so teed off at what they did, I did 10. Then they said the book, man, I've learned a book. So when I got there on day one, I wanted to show them so bad that you made a mistake. I sat right up in the front. And when they seen that I knew my stuff, I thought they were going to be angry. They were glad. Matter of fact, they were like, what we talking about? And it was right in there that I repented to them because now I got it. I got what they was trying to do. And it ended up helping some of our other classmates make it. We had a study group where they made it, or being promoted. But I wanted to show them that not only can I lead, but I'm going to know how to and know everything in there. And my therapist asked me a question. He said, what do you do with your pain? What do you do with your frustration? Most people let that pain fester and sit and do nothing? Huh? Most people let that pain, that anger, that frustration just sit where they can't sleep. They can't do nothing. It incapacitates them. He said, don't ever do that. Take that frustration and find something to do with it and burn it. Burn it, even if it's working out. If it's working out, when I first had a gastric sleeve surgery, my trainer used to make fun, but then I realized he wasn't. He used to say, man, make that weight that gyro you ate. You know, I look at, man, what's up with that? But I would get so mad and angry that I did 2 extra sets. And many of us don't get that. Stop sitting in your pain. That's energy. They said you can't do it. Michael Jordan used to create scenarios in his head just to give him the edge to go out there and perform because he knew he was better than everybody. Michael Jordan was like, man. But then when it really came to a fight, he was really fighting because he was already in that level. He came to it. And that's what I learned. They did you wrong, fine. You know, they never paid you back, fine. They took from you, fine. You just used what they did as energy to go get better, to go get more, to work harder. So when it was official last week, after all the different shifts of training and everything, I realized that this is what God wanted me to do. Because you got to be grateful. We can't think everything is going to come. So therapy showed me that. Showed me about my reaction. That a lot of times we lose good things, good people and places because our reactions. It's easy to go into somebody that didn't hurt you. It's easy to fight with somebody that's trying to help you. It's easy to belittle somebody who does absolutely nothing that you do absolutely nothing for. Many people get it, like the Bible says, you would rather live in a house in the edge of a rooftop than a house full of strife. There's more than one way of getting your point across without being angry. But another thing is to put somebody in a place where they're safe, where they won't be angry. My Lord says something, it's a joke, but I often laugh at it. My Lord said he went over to Eddie Murphy's house, and it was the nicest house he ever stayed in. He was like, oh my goodness, Eddie, this is nice. He said, if you get in an argument with your lady in a house like that, he said, she may go off, but she ain't gonna leave. He said, what if you get mad at her? You be like, hey man, listen, if you don't like it, I just get out. And he said, she'll be like, get out. I get out. Forget your little bowling alley, your little airstrip, and your big old giant house with all these rooms and all this. Forget all that. He said she'll get to the door and be like, turn around and say, why you acting like this? But he said, let you have some nasty stuff, some dirt, a dirty house, a nasty small house, and you say, get out. Well, I'm leaving. He'll get out. They be like, you get out. I thought you would never ask, But it's funny. But, basically he was saying that, when you put somebody in a beautiful place, in a nice place, they're not going to be quick. And a lot of times, people's reactions are often because of where they are. You put people in a better place of safety, then they answer responses and reactions to be safety. But one of my things was my reactions. Because I'm either reacting to react, and sometimes it's not good, or I'm reacting in a way where I'm shrinking myself to agree with something I know is wrong. And that's what most leaders want you to do in some of these ministries in these places. I want you to shrink you to fit into my stuff because this is I'm the leader here. I will never do that in 2026. Not gonna happen. This is the last church that I joined, as a member. The next church that I go to, I'll be a pastor over the church. I will not join another ministry because I'm not fitting into somebody else. It ain't like the old days. It's a business. This is what T.I. said, and him and Kirk Franklin had words. They didn't have words, but they had a really strong disagreement. But he said, I don't feel the church like I did in my grandmother's day. It's more of a business. It's more entertaining. Who can yell the loudest? Who can dance? Who can do it? People are not, they don't get delivered. It's just become a show. So I'm committed in 2026 to my church assignment, godly assignment, to my love assignment, to my family assignment, and to my therapeutic assignment. Let me talk about some of the lessons I've learned in 2025. One of the greatest lessons I've learned in 2025 is you're never going to make a point with somebody that is not going to, that already had a made up mind. There are many people in life that don't know how to have a conversation. One of the main things with me is I am not going to have a conversation with somebody that constantly interrupts me. I am not going to talk to that person very long. One of the things that I've learned is many people don't have courtesy to have a conversation with you. It's like I am going to keep saying what I want to say the way I want to say it, and I don't care. I want to do. Many people always say not to cut you off, but you did. One of the things that I understand is everybody wants to talk and nobody wants to listen. I will not in 2026 have a conversation with somebody that is rude enough to interrupt me and not allow me to get what I need to get out. If I have to speak over you, argue with you, go back and forth you to make a point, you don't believe or hear anything I say anyway, so why say it? I've learned also in 25, that people will only be there for you when it benefits them. My therapist said to me that true love shows love whether that love is reciprocated. That if you can do something for somebody without trying to put them in a bad situation, you do it out of love. Love is shown when a person is in a bad place. Many people make people situational. I am going to show you love that benefits me. I know you're in a bad place, so I'm going to try to advance, or unfortunately, a lot of people may be in a financial bound. Let me help you out, see if I can't get lucky or something. Or you have people can see you in a bad mental place or you're in a bad situation and they're going to come down on you. My pet peeve is I cannot deal with anybody that will kick me when I'm down. But you have a lot of people who will only do what benefits them. I'm only going to defend you when it's us. But if you don't do what I want you to do, you are a bad person. You don't do or say or speak or act the way I think you should, you're a bad person. We have gotten to what that's one of the lessons I've learned is I don't fit in everybody's house and everybody's circle, everybody's life, and I'm okay with that. I'm at an age right now, I have no more time to lose anything. I don't have the capacity to lose it, and I'm committed to what I'm committed to. Good or bad, I'm committed to it. And I will stay to see the glory of God. Because many times I've left situations that still being blessed from the hard work I put in. But I left before I seen the glory. They seen it. You know, I won't do that. I've lost enough. I've been through enough. Right now, it's all everything. You know, ain't no, and ifs and none. No. I'm living with no regret. I gave it to God. I've been working. That stuff is gone. I don't worry about behind my triggers. I don't care what's in my heart. That's why I'm content. When people say, God, man, I want to do something nice for you, but you never want to. You know why? Because I'm good. Now, if you just want to do something, do it. I'll be thankful for it, but I don't need it. Because I got God. I got what God wants for me. I don't need a big circle. I don't need people phony around me. I tell God, keep them away from me. They're going to be phony. I don't need them. You ain't got to pretend to like me. If you don't like me, don't like me. If you don't want to be around me, don't be around me. The most dangerous people in your circle are the ones that's smiling for you, but are jealous of you because they see what's on your life. I've also learned that love is important. Family is important. We are not going to always have the ideal family. And sometimes God uses us to break generational curses and to show our family members the great example of what love is. And we got to understand that we're not going to always get it right. And that I'm thankful. I may not have a family that supported me, or may not have a family that was able to, do for me as I do for them, but I thank God for them. I thank God I ain't by myself. And even though it's hard seeing my mom get old, I thank God for her every day. I thank God that I can hear her voice every day. I thank God I can bless it. There is no burdens when you love somebody. And love is shown more than just saying it. But the greatest lesson of God that I've learned this year, two of my greatest lessons, which made me ask the question, who is Corey Wright uninterrupted, is accessibility. I have to control who has access to me. And I don't want anything or be anywhere that's out of the will of God for my life. Those are the greatest lessons, because I have never been in a place with or without somebody that I had problems in when God said be there. If I heard a preacher say, if the truth shall set you free and you still bound, that means you need to up your truth. And one of the things that I had to realize, there's a difference in God's truth that sets me free, and there's a difference in my truth. There's a difference in your truth. One of the things that I want for my life in 2026 is I want to do business ministry with my wife. I want to have associates, church family members, but I want to have my best friend, my friend, and the one that I kick it with, have fun with, be my wife. I don't want no circles outside of her. Period. You ain't got to invite me. You ain't got to, I thank you if you do. But I want to enjoy it. There are so many things I want to see in life. I want to see the pyramids. I want to see Martin Luther King memorial. I want to see all of these things. I want to see a lot of places. I want to go to Paris. I want to see every state in this country. I want to visit. I want to go to Cairo. I want to go to the Holy Lands. I'm okay with not being in everybody's circle. I want to do ministry around the world. I'm okay with not being invited to everyone's church. Now, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. One of the major things that has destroyed me and destroyed a lot of things that I wanted to do in life until now was accessibility. How do we become an uninterrupted version of ourselves? Is to guard our accessibility. And it's not just who in our circle, what we listen to, who we're around. It doesn't matter if there's a room of people talking about how bad I am or whatever. If I didn't hear it, if somebody says somebody talking about me, I'm like, that's between you and them. That was a conversation I wasn't invited to, so I don't care. Because it has no power until I speak about it. Well, these refreshers good. So, accessibility. Whatever I'm doing, I don't need nobody else's opinion, especially if God say do it. Keep your opinion. Well, I didn't ask you that. In 2026, if I get a comment solicited that I didn't ask for, I'm going to politely tell somebody I never asked you that. I didn't ask you for your advice. I didn't ask you for your help. I'm not worried about what you're thinking. That's between you and God. I didn't ask you for it. Somebody get in my comment. I didn't ask you for your opinion. That is one of the things that that I understand I have to guard. And it's one form of guard my heart is guard my access. I don't want to sit on the phone with you talking about negative things. I don't want to go back and forth with anybody. I had somebody tell me one day, because I'm nice to this lady I was talking to a while back, I'm nice to her, that I'm love bombing her because I'm giving her compliments. A lot of men get compliments. Next thing they'll tell me, excuse me, I don't know you. Anybody trying to sleep with you? I don't know you. I'm not, you keep talking about how bad men is, but then you want somebody in your life. Well, I'll just tell you how I feel. Well, why would you tell somebody you trying to get to know how you hate men and then get mad because what? That person don't want nothing to do with you. So you got to watch the access. I don't want no negative. Don't call me. I need some information. No. I don't want to. You don't want my advice. You want to dump that negative feelings on you so I can give you a little bit of inspiration so you can go back and bring more negativity. No, thank you. You have to guard your access. And I don't want it. I don't want it. Because if it's out of God's will to get it, you got to keep it out of God's will to keep it. And listen, God ain't going to let what he said no to work. You are not going to get that man or woman or that business, that house, your way, that car. You are not going to get it your way. Get that out of your head. You're not going to outsmart God. You're not going to out leverage God. You're not, it's not going to happen. The greatest part of my service as a man of God ever is this year coming to the fruition or the place of completely surrendered. God, your will. I am in 2026 committed to being me in full unapologetically. I'm committed to being who God created Corey Joseph Wright to be. I'm committed to that in full unapologetically. I don't care who don't want to be around me, who don't want to work with me, what church I'm not invited to. I don't care if I ever get a chance to speak anywhere. I am going to be me unapologetically. I am not everyone's tape because many people are phony. They want to look a certain way and study being a way, and they don't want to open up the word to people. Don't want to learn the word. They want to go by what somebody say. They want to pick the sermon. They don't want to go through the whole Bible. When I did Bible study, I went through the whole Bible, chapter by chapter by chapter. I'm committed. I'm committed to being me fully. I'm committed to being me fully in ministry work. I'm committed to being me fully in relationship work. I'm committed to being me fully at work. I'm committed to being me fully in family work, in therapy. I am committed. I'm committed to radio. I'm giving radio, all I got until I don't have it anymore. But I'm giving all I have because I'm committed to it. You're not going to get any resolutions from me or enter anything. I'm committed to God's will for my life in 2026. I am not going to say that I'm going to work out more. I'm going to just do it, being committed to it, uninterrupted. And we have to understand that we have to put our mind, heart, and spirit in a place of peace in God so we are uninterrupted by what's going on around us. When my therapist said that to me, he said, what are your goals for 2026? The uninterrupted version of you. That hit me. Because the first thing you think about is, how am I going to get this done with this amount of money I have? And God, who is your provider? It's God, so you're uninterrupted. Don't worry about how it's going to get paid if God told you to go. How am I going to make this happen with this person? If God says that's the person that you love and you be with, he going to take care of that. He going to make sure you have abundance. You say, I'm committed, uninterrupted in God. It's going to work out for my family. And everybody that's connected to me is going to be blessed. Therapy. You see the things that's happening in your life. You uninterrupted. People don't want to accept you when you better yourself. If you don't change who you are, all you're going to do is blame people for what you missed out. It's easy to blame the world for how bad your life is. It's easy to blame situations for how bad things are. It's easy to do that. But what happens? When I walked in here today, I was so blessed because I haven't been here in a few weeks because of, training for this new position and all the snow. And it's amazing, the studio now. It looks amazing what Dr. Franklin did in a matter of weeks. It's amazing how God has expanded this radio and television network the way he has under his leadership, because you look at from the room we went to where we are, where we bought almost a whole mall. But when God is in it, he bears witness to it. You don't have to make all these decrees and declare. Every resolution that you make, guess what? The devil, he heard you make it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. You know what? He's already sending people to interrupt you. Huh? And what we doing doesn't have to be televised. All the things that God is doing in my life right now, you won't hear them on this radio show or anything else. The person that God has for me, you won't hear. When you hear about her, we'll be married. When you know who she is, we'll be married. Before I come back, no. And it's not that I'm had her. Our relationship is between us, not everyone. Because a lot of times, people ruin what God has for them, announcing it or putting it out there premature. No. Not at all. Not at all. My goals is surrender. My 2026 goals is surrender to God. End of story. Point blank. End of story. Surrender to God. Point blank. Nothing else. We have to get that. This is the last show of the 2025. We are approaching a brand new year. One of the things that was taken away from me this year was worrying. I had to repent to God heavy this year because I realized all the worrying and how I'm gonna figure out stuff and this and that, it all was for nothing because God already had a plan. Sometimes we have to go through some of the worst situations to become better people. Because if we don't correct in us what we use to destroy us, then God will give us something new that we would destroy with us. The worst thing you can do is become the weapon formed against yourself that's allowing the devil to prosper in your life. That you cannot cast out demons that you enjoy playing with. You cannot be phony in what you're doing. Now, God knows we all fall short. God knows that we fight. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. And even if I make mistakes, because God chose us, we still sound like him. Like when you think about Peter, he told Peter, you're gonna deny me 3 times before the cock crow. What happened? That third time, then people said, you definitely one of his disciples. You with him, you sound just like him. And even though you try to deny God because he chose you, you sound just like him. And Peter had to cuss and go off before they left him alone, meaning he had to sound like them for them to leave him alone. And a lot of people won't leave you alone until you sound like them. And, instead of being happy who you are in Christ. People, who are you uninterrupted? You have to ask yourself this question. because some of y'all think a new year, a new season, more money, more opportunities, and more stuff is going to change who you are, because you don't know who you are uninterrupted. You don't know who you are outside of your problems. You, every time you speak, you open your mouth leading with your problems. How you doing? I'm making it. I ain't gonna complain. Okay, you done already defeated yourself. You know, one of my therapy sessions was, what are you leading off with? How do you start your conversation? Do you start your conversation your blessed self or your frustrated self? Many of us give the devil praise and don't even realize we're doing it, because we start off bad. I'm just, I'm barely making it. No, I'm more than a conqueror. I don't, it's hard out here and I'm frustrated. Okay. What did God do? No, I'm not. I'm good. I'm not worried about nothing. And I'm not worried about nothing because it ain't like what God has given me can't be taken. No, I'm not worried about it because God allowed it to be taken. He give me something greater. If God allowed me to lose one car, he'll give me another one. If God allowed me to lose one house, he'll give me another one. I'm not worried about that, because sometimes God got to take things out of our hands to give us better. But if we're trying to hold on to what's in our hands, God can't give us better. But many people don't get that. Everybody is leading off with complaining. I come to work every single day laughing, smiling, because the world didn't give me my joy. They can't take it away. And many people want to attack that. When I got this position, there was a bunch of people, and I'm not going to say what they were, but they were not Afro-American, and they probably, and even they was, no matter. They were really talking negative about me having a better position that I had. And my response to the person that said that is, I don't mind. Because what happens is the demon in them makes them acknowledge the God in me. And a lot of them don't get the attention they want to get because they don't have that anointing on their lives to get. So what they do is attack the person that they feel that they can have a safe swing with, which makes them passive aggressive, meaning I can say what I want to say to this person because there's no consequences behind it, because he ain't going to go all up my face or go off like some of the other people will. And I can say that because I know if I say that to that guy, he'll be all in my face and it'll be a problem, it'll be a bunch of stuff. So I'm not going to do that. So I say that to him, and I don't mind, because you know why? I enjoy you hating on me, because it just solidifies and give me confirmation that I'm doing something right, or I'm sent by God. But a lot of them talk about me to get attention that they don't get talking about themselves. But I don't worry about the enemy, because I understand that the enemy is acknowledged, because that's what they want you to go. Because I know once I go in or respond to say something, then now I've given them the power that what they said never had. You are entering into a new year. You are, Christmas is Thursday. It won't be no snow Christmas. It's going to be 54 degrees, 55, almost 60. But Christmas is the time you spend with your family. Christmas, for me, I'll be at work, because I thank God for the place to be able to work. I'm thanking God for that opportunity. I'm thanking God for the people that I'm able to bless. Prior to, Christmas, to bless my kids and everybody, and my special loved one, the lady, the one that's with me, Brother Pastor. Hey, thank you, Charlie. blessings that I'm able to do. So I'm able to bless people, but and that's the whole thing. Now I'm gonna go broke probably this Christmas, but it's okay because I can make it up in overtime later, so it's no problem. But I want to see people blessed and have a great Christmas. Um, my thing is that I really want people to understand that 2025 for me was the greatest year of growth, and not monetarily, because of many times I said, God, why haven't you blessed me with all you said you were going to bless me with yet? He said, because your character wasn't big enough. I had to expand your character. One thing that people don't understand, that when it comes to NFL teams, NBA teams, pro teams, period, they have to go through practice. Even though they've been practicing their whole life to be where they're at, they had to go through practice. And they have to be prepared. All that God has for me, from relationship to family to life to love to growth to financial, I'm ready for. Pastorship, I'm ready for. And this has been a great stretching. This has been one of the greatest things I could have done, to go back to therapy. One of the greatest things I could have done, because I removed myself. I removed myself and I had to stop working. And there are those people who will put their mouth on me. There are those people who will lie on me. There are people who will say what they need to say, and that's okay. I'm okay with that, because what separates me from you is the work I put in. And because you have negative views and negative thoughts, and you may say negative things, it doesn't stop my growth. Because eventually I am becoming and growing into a place where I'm unreachable. While you keep staying over there in that same spot, I'm building over here. We laugh at the nursery rhyme, The Three Little Pigs, but it's such a great lesson in that, because the other two pigs built their house, one on straw, one with wood, but that last one built it with brick. And when that wolf came, that wolf was in trouble. You can huff and puff, but you ain't gonna blow this brick down. I'm building brick, building strong foundation. But I go into a new year committed to being me in full. I thank God for this opportunity in radio. I thank God for my co-host, Tina, in her absence. I thank God for the WVTC network and this year of growth, this year of radio. I thank God for my multimedia person. She is amazing. She created this background. She created this all my commercials. She created a lot of my content, and I thank God for them. And I thank God for everything that's happening in 2026. You all will see me in 2026, the first Saturday of January, where I will be talking about the goals, and I will be talking about the next levels, and I will be talking about first fruits. And it's not just monetary first fruits, but what are you giving to God first? To talk about the nation, talking about the things that's happening. We have some major, powerful topics to be happening in 2026. Now, I will be in church 2000 for New Year's. I don't like being out with the bullets because everybody is shooting. I normally go to Indiana. It's something about Indiana where you don't see all that shooting in Indiana. Those police don't play. Every year, I normally get me a room, a hotel room, either downtown or Indiana. Because even though they shooting in the city, they're not shooting downtown. They're not shooting close to downtown. They're not shooting downtown. So I would want to be, because I want to wake up, in a beautiful place downtown or Indiana. I love Indiana. Those are the place, I would do that because to me, Crown Point, Indiana is the most beautiful place I've seen. I've seen some of them homes in Crown Point, Indiana. And when God permits it, one day I'm going to live in Crown Point, Indiana. But I normally do that because I worry about the shoot, and I want us to be safe on New Year's night because they will be shooting, and we have to be better with these services on New Year's night, because we can't keep people 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning unless we're going to keep them all night, send them home in the middle of the gunshots. That's not good. That's not a great place to be. So I just think, we got to really, really be careful with that to know what we have to do. But I want to reiterate the question for 2026 to ask yourself is, who are you uninterrupted? Who are you outside of what life made you to be or shaped you to be? Who are you if a lot of those things never happened to you? Who would you be? What would you do? Where would you go? How many blessings, relationships, great things you lost because you're trying to get it, maintain it, or grow it, interrupt it? Who are you when you don't have to take on your kids' problems? Who are you when you don't have to take on your friends' problems? Who are you when you don't have to take on your family problems? Who are you when you're not in mess with people? Who are you when you don't have to fight every day? Who are you when you got total peace in God? There was a gospel song said, if God does nothing else for me, he's done enough. 2026, I will never small myself for nobody. I won't preach the same, pray the same, live the same, none of that. And it's amazing how you think about what people think about you. But when you have who God wants for you, you're good. Sometimes you need somebody who has been through all kinds of stuff. They appreciate what God has bought you. They'll appreciate what God has given. They'll appreciate what God is doing. They'll appreciate it. I have been so eager to get on top level that I have not been thankful for the level I'm on. I have not been able to celebrate walking up the stairs to another level. I have not been able to have joy and peace and fun on the journey. God, like, I am taking you somewhere, but live life. When we think about double-mindedness, we think that that's just believing and not believing. But what happens when you worry? If you truly, one of the things that I was really telling the group I was speaking on is when you worry, you in a double-mindedness. When you already know God worked it out, I want you to think about something that blew me away. The Bible says that they borrowed a tomb to put Jesus in. Why would somebody borrow a tomb? Because they know they ain't going to be there long. Could you imagine somebody walking up to you and say, you have a cemetery plot, can I borrow it to put a body in? You'd be like, well, what happens when I pass? But Jesus knew he wasn't going to be there. And you're not going to be in that bad place long. You have to understand there is a you that the world created, but there is an uninterrupted you. And that's the person you have to find in 2026 to be the best you can be, to have all you need in life for you to be great. One of the main things that has interrupted my life is relationships. Bad relationships. Relationships with people that want to fight. Now that God said that that person is her, and that's been confirmed through his prophets, and that's been confirmed through her, my love and relationship status is uninterrupted. Now that God has confirmed that I know I'm a pastor, confirmed that he's moving me to my own ministry, that the man of God that I'm under now was told by the prophets that he sent pastor somebody who has been thrown away, who's been cast away, that I'm going to train and send out. That I'm okay. I'm okay with whatever they want me to do. I don't need to be on the pulpit to preach. I ain't anxious to jump on that to do that. No, I just want to be a part and work. But I'm committed to that until God moves me. I'm committed to my family assignment, my boys. I'm committed to therapy. I'm committed to those things. First time. I'm not looking for nothing but what God said. I'm not looking for no new nothing. And I'm committed to what he says to be committed to. In the story, I'm committed to my job. I was up for other promotions. I was up for a position that's over 911 center. But I'm not going to take it. Why? Because all I'm moving is from one place to another, when the ultimate goal is for me to leave working for anybody, period. So I'm at a great job, not working hard. I work hard sometimes. But compared to what I make, and you see some people at McDonald's, how they work for the little money they get, I'm blessed. So I'm committed. I'm committed to the job that I have now, and committed until God elevates me to my own. Either that's through me or through my wife to be. So be it. But I'm committed. It don't need to move. What are we committed to? What are you committed to? Have you left a situation, a job, a ministry, a place before you've seen the glory? Have you left and been committed to the commitment of who you are? In 2026, you can't shrink no more. If you don't fit into somebody's circle, you just don't fit. If you don't fit into somebody's ministry, you just don't fit. If you don't fit into somebody's life and their relationship, who they are, you just don't fit. There's no shame in that. Some people are just not meant to be together. Some people are not meant to be in love. Some people are not meant to work together. Some of you all got to stop trying to turn some of these red flags green. And it don't mean a person's a bad person because they can't work with you. People take because you don't want them, because you can't work with them, as you're trying, that is something wrong with them. It is not something wrong with them. They just don't work. If somebody bought me a pair of $5,000 mics that was a size 9, it doesn't mean something wrong with the shoe. They just don't fit me. We have to stop taking what don't fit us personal. Some relationships just not gonna work. And I hate losing friendships over relationships that didn't work because somebody mad that it didn't work. It couldn't have worked. It won't work. Not because I don't want it to work, but because it's not meant to work. I am surrendered to God, and I am committed to the commitments that I made to God, so that now I can be uninterrupted. I don't have to worry about, what I need to do. Because if I live by somebody else's standard, if I live by somebody else's thought of me, then they have the power to control me. It took me a long time to get this, a lot of hard work, a lot of therapy to get this, because I understood that if I didn't change me, I'm going to keep losing everything. I was so surprised that God worked out a lot of situations. And I thank God for everything he's blessed me with, including that person. She's open. She's completely open. God worked that out, and that's the best thing. Because when God bears witness, you ain't got to explain it. You're trying to over-explain something because you're trying to make something fit. But when it's God said, it fits anyway. So I want you guys to take this show, share it, replay it, but ask yourself that question. Who are you uninterrupted? And once you find out who you are uninterrupted, don't let anybody else interrupt you. People want to be distractions. That's what the devil do. Because he don't want you to see the authority you have, the power you have. He sends distractions. I'm okay. And I'm content and I'm blessed. I want you guys to have a safe new year. I want you guys to be safe going to these watch services. One of the things that I'm always up 4:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning before I go to work, because that's the fourth watch of prayer. That's when we are in the open heaven. That's when most scholars and theologians believe Jesus rose from the grave. They believe that's when Jacob fought God wrestled God all into the morning at the fourth watch. And I'm always waking up at the fourth watch of prayer. And that's when I do my best studying. Is there, because you're under open heaven. You command your day from that point. That's when light takes darkness away. It doesn't just become light. It hits dark. That's the darkest of the night. That's when joy comes in the morning. So you got to ask yourself the question before the problem, before the situation, before all the things come, who did God make you to be? Find that person and let that person thrive in 2026. I love you guys, and understand and realize my shows next year, 2026, are going to be off the chain, no holds barred. And again, I thank God for this opportunity. I'm amazed at what Dr. Franklin is doing. And if there is anybody that I look up to and that I know God has his hands on, it's him. Because he's never let anything stop him. And if you've seen the place now, in just 2 weeks, just imagine in a year what this place is going to be. I pray God bless him and his family and everything. And you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. See y'all guys like next year. Love you guys. Bye.
Well, go on and praise